All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're not just going to talk about AI. We're actually going to build a strategic roadmap. So if you've ever had an idea for an AI application, this is your blueprint for getting it from a fuzzy concept to a real, scalable, and successful product. Let's unroll the plans. First things first, let's get this hard truth out on the table, because it's probably the most important thing you'll hear. The graveyard of AI projects, it is filled with beautiful, brilliant code. The reason they fail isn't technical, it's foundational. It's about building the wrong thing from the very start. But hey, that is not going to be your story, because what we're doing here is unpacking a framework that's designed to steer you right past all those common traps. This is all about learning to think like an engineer, a product manager, and a systems designer, all at the same time. So our journey starts right here, at the foundation. You know, before you write a single line of code, this is where the most critical work gets done. This is the moment you decide if your project is going to solve a real-world problem or if it's just going to be another cool tech demo. And this right here, this perfectly illustrates the two roads you can take. Now, the failure path, it's tempting, right? You start with the cool tech, with AI, and then you desperately try to find a problem for it. The success path, though, it's more disciplined. You start with a genuine human pain point, and then you ask, is AI the best tool to solve this specific problem? So here's the mindset shift that is absolutely crucial. AI is not the product. It's a capability. It's a powerful tool in your toolbox. That's it. I mean, think about it. Nobody buys a database, right? They buy software that solves their inventory problem. The exact same thing is true for AI. Okay, so how do you find the right problem? Well, start by asking these three questions. First, is there repetitive cognitive work happening? Are smart people doing the same thinking tasks over and over? Second, is there a lot of ambiguity that humans are good at handling, but normal software just chokes on? And third, is the speed or the scale of a task just completely limited by how many people you can throw at it? If you get a yes to any of these, you're onto something big. And here's what that looks like in the real world. Good ideas are specific. They target a very clear, often tedious task. Think about summarizing thousands of legal documents or automating those basic customer support tickets. Bad ideas? They're just vague and totally unfocused. An AI social network isn't a product, it's a wish. You've got to focus on what's useful, not just what sounds impressive. All right, so once you've locked in a solid problem, it's time to build the engine. Let's get into the core tech. Let's demystify what's actually under the hood and figure out how to get you from that validated idea to a real working prototype. So the modern AI stack really has 4 key layers. At the top, you have the LLM, the large language model. This is the brain. It does all the reasoning. Next, you've got embeddings and a vector database. Think of this as the system's long-term memory. It's specialized library for finding related ideas. Third is the prompting layer. This is where you write your instructions. It's the true logic engine of your app. And finally, orchestration. That's the plumbing that connects all these pieces together and makes them work in the right order. But there is a huge problem with these off-the-shelf models. They are unbelievably smart, but they're also unbelievably ignorant. They know nothing about your company's internal wiki or your users' previous support tickets or any of your specific business context. Basically, you're working with a genius who has amnesia. And the solution to that amnesia is this game-changing technique called RAG. It stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. Honestly, the best way to think about it is that you're giving the AI an open book test. So before the AI answers a question, it first goes and retrieves the most relevant bits from your private data. Then it augments its answer with that context. And just like that, you turn a generic model into a genuine expert on your stuff. And the difference is just night and day. Look at this. Without RAG, your AI app is spitting out generic, kind of basic answers. It's a cool parlor trick. But with RAG, it gives specific, context-aware, and deeply valuable responses. This is the leap from a toy to a real tool. Okay, having a working RAG prototype is a huge milestone. But let's be clear, it is not a product yet. Now we have to shift our focus. We've got to make it reliable, make it scalable, and create an experience that feels, well, kind of magical for the person using it. Reliability is everything. You can't ship a product that gives you a different answer every time for the same question. So you need to implement prompt testing, just like you write tests for your code. You need guardrails to force the output into a consistent format. And you have to control the temperature. Keep it low for predictable, factual answers, and only dial it up when you actually need creativity.
And the user experience? It is paramount. 3 simple rules. First, always show the system is working. A little spinner is infinitely better than a blank screen. Second, don't make the AI a complete black box. Give little hints about what it's doing, like searching documents or analyzing your request. And finally, keep that response time as low as you possibly can. Speed feels like magic.
Now for the part that so many people ignore until it's way too late, the business side of things. This tech is incredible, but it is not free. Let's talk about how to actually scale your app without bankrupting yourself in the process. This rule is completely non-negotiable. Every single request your app makes to an LLM costs you money. If you don't know, down to the cent, how much each active user is costing you in API calls, you're not running a business. You're running a very, very expensive hobby. You must track this metric from day one. So where does all that money go? Well, the 3 biggest levers are your choice of model. The biggest ones can be 20 times more expensive than smaller ones, the number of tokens you're using, and how well you're caching things. Remember, tokens are basically pieces of words. The more tokens go in and out, the higher your bill. And if you're not caching common answers, you're just paying to recalculate the same thing over and over. So the strategy to control those costs becomes pretty clear, right? You have to cache results aggressively. You should always use the smallest, cheapest model that can still get the job done right. Be absolutely ruthless about optimizing your prompts to use fewer tokens, and put some sensible limits on how much stuff a user can throw at it one time. And of course, all these costs have to be covered somehow. Your monetization model, whether that's a flat subscription, a pay-per-use system, or some freemium tier, it has to be directly tied to that cost per user metric we talked about. The core idea is simple. The value your AI provides has to be greater than its ongoing cost to run.
We have covered a ton of ground, from high-level strategy all the way down to the nitty-gritty of cost engineering. So let's bring it all together into one final actionable blueprint. This is your plan, your action plan.
Here's the path. Seriously, don't spend months building in secret. Build a dead simple prototype in a day or 2. Then spend the next few days making it genuinely useful by adding your own data with RAG. After that, you just iterate, improve the user experience, start optimizing the cost. But the most important step, launch it to real users way earlier than you feel comfortable.
And that brings us to the final thought, which really sums up this entire philosophy. Your goal is not to build something that impresses other engineers. Your goal is to build something that is genuinely, undeniably useful to another human being. Utility, that's what scales. So there you have it. The framework is yours now. The path is clear. Just remember, it all starts with a problem, not with code. It starts with utility, not with technology. The question isn't how anymore, it's what. You have the blueprint. So what useful thing are you going to build?